Hello, my name is Ziyera. I'm a communal farmer based in Mutare South, Ward 35. I've been farming for the past, I can say, 35 years. And I was born and bred in this area, so this is where I've been farming. But for the past 30 years, basically, I've been doing farming as a livelihood. And we grow various crops, mostly maize, small grains, that could be your sorghum, your millet, your rapoko, and various other crops. We also do horticulture. This is where we do your greens, vegetables for domestic use. We also do animal husbandry, mostly cattle, goats, sheep, and of course chicken rearing and so forth and so forth. This is what we most of us do on a daily basis in terms of the products that we farm in this area. And we are in region 3, geographic region 3, and we always receive a higher amount of rainfall, but of late the rains have become very erratic. Either it's a drought or we have the floods, and it's very difficult to manage because it is either they are below normal rainfall because it's a drought, or it's flooding, right, which destroys almost everything. We have also been having new animal diseases, which previously we did not have, especially such as January disease. We are also having most of our crops, right, because the soil is now used up. So some of our crops now need a lot of fertilizers. So it has become very expensive to grow these crops because you need a lot of fertilizers, a lot of chemicals to try and make sure that at least you have a good harvest. So in terms of rainfall, like I said, it's very, very erratic. It's dwindling year in, year out. But basically, we cannot plan because we are communal farmers. We don't depend, we don't have any irrigation. So we have so what then happens is, because we have no irrigation, we have to depend on rainfall. We mostly use draft power, kettle for draft power. The time we don't use any other zero tillage. So on those portions where we are doing zero tillage, that means we simply plant in our seed. Then on those portions where we will be using kettle, oxy-drawn plows, you see, then we use that. So we mix the two. But that's how we do it. In terms of seed, most of it we buy from companies, but of late government has also been issuing out the seed under what they call the Presidential Agricultural Inputs Program. So government has also been issuing out some seed. But the problem with that is either the seed comes late. You might find out they'll come in January to distribute seed. Yet we started planting in October, November. Of course, the times we now plow, we may have to plant because the seasons have changed. Or they'll bring in the wrong variety. Where you need short season, they might bring in medium or long, or the long season varieties, you see. So that's the problem with these seeds that are being issued under the presidential inputs. They don't take consideration of the specific type of seed that we require in our specific areas. They just bring in loads of seed. So it becomes difficult for you to then select. You simply use what you've been given. But when we buy our own, we simply buy the seed that we require and that we need, right? But it has also become very, very expensive. The seed varieties have become expensive. Chemicals have become expensive. Fertilizers have become expensive. They are also in US dollars. But yeah, very, very, very expensive. So as farmers, we are getting these challenges. We continuously meet these challenges on a seasonal basis. And because we have no capacity to store or buy a lot of material now and store for the next season, we can't. We simply have to buy it as the season unfolds. So that affects us a lot as farmers. So that's about the farming, right? Still, on the farming practice, like I said, we do crop rotation, we mix, right? Zero tillage, and also draft power, shallow draft power using oxy-drawn plows. Those are mostly the methods that we use around this area. But we also have assistance of what we call extension workers who also come and help us with new knowledge on how to plant and manage some of these crops, some of these pests. But that's what we do in terms of planting. We are also using, I think, the kind of seed, what do they call it? This seed that they're sold by all these seed companies. But the challenge with this seed is that you can't replant, right? If you have this, you cannot use the same seed in the next season, right? You have to buy again from the shops. So it's very expensive. So because of the expenses, then if you don't have money to buy new seed, right, that means you're not going to plant. If you are going to plant from your harvest, it means you're going to get maybe 2% of the expected harvest. the issue of these seeds that we are getting from the shops, it's also affecting us a great deal. So, but previously, years back, we always used it to plant from our silos, right? From our harvest. We would select a good seed, which we put aside. As communities also, we do have land and water, and this have to be managed as well. Our communities have a lot of respect for their land and their water, and this is seen through one. People have got what we call totems. So totems represent animals. Like for water, you have the hippo or savi, right, which is water, or the crocodile. People have animals, your cattle, cow, chirandu, various animals, and all these totems are made for people to respect these various animals in their daily lives, right? Because people then are related or attached to these animals, so you need to respect them, right? And there are some places which we call a sacred, and if you go in there and you play tricks, it's very easy that you might go missing. So some of these sacred places in our culture should be respected. If you disrespect them, it means you might actually die, you might actually disappear, or a bad omen will follow you. So in terms of, so from that perspective then, it means one, people do have very strong ties, very strong relationships with the environment. That means the water and the land, the flora and the fauna that's found in this area. Although, of course, some of these things, because of evolving situations, evolving society, you find out that some of these things may no longer be strictly followed in the sense as it used to happen some years back. But still, communities still try and follow up on these things. So communities, especially rural communities, do respect their land. They respect also their water because it's their livelihood. And this is where they get their sustenance from. We should be able to manage the farming variables. We should be able to manage the variables of farming, that is the weather, right? So as farmers would want to invest more in irrigation so that we can harness the water from underground and we can continuously practice our farming. Instead of going seasonal, we can do it on a rolling basis, right? When we do that, I think we should be able to really do a thriving farming business. Secondly, I think we also need to turn, I think, our land use patterns. Of late, I think as communal farmers, we've not been investing in professionalizing farming. I think we should try and professionalize our farming and improve on our methods of farming. It also means that a lot of land that is laying fallow, a lot of people who prefer to live in cities might actually review that and maybe trek back here to the rural areas where they can live comfortably and invest in farming. We also need to, because we also need to, I think, in terms of learning more and investing more in controlling pests, whether a plant or crop or animal pests. Because of late we've been losing our cattle, we've also been losing our crops from the new pests that are coming up. And as communal farmers, we've not been investing a lot of knowledge into these things. So we need to put more resources towards this, towards research and development, so that we manage these things more sustainably. And of course, I think as farmers, this is a method we should also be focusing on, rather than using one synthetic seeds and also synthetic fertilizers. Because synthetic seeds, like I've said before, you can only grow them for a season, and you cannot use the same for planting purposes in the next season. It will not work. So we might also need to ask government to make sure that these seed companies should reverse this issue of making seeds for a season. No, it should not be like that. I think we should be able to replant using the same seed. So I think in terms of those companies that are making seed, I think we should make sure that we encourage them or discourage them from practicing this capitalist way of doing things, because it's really killing on seed sovereignty, which is also destroying food sovereignty. And it's actually a requiem for hunger, to bring poverty to our people, right? That is what I want to share with you as a communal farmer from Mutare, Ward 35. Thank you very much.